Hello, welcome back, Blackstar1 here. Today we're going to be looking at these. These are three self-made sketchbooks today, and I'm going to be showing off three of them, as I said. But yeah, I'm starting a new one, and I thought, when I get the three, I might as well show them off in a big video, because, I mean, that's, what, 44 per? So it's about, it's over 100. I can't do quick maths. But it's pretty cool, so I do hope you'll enjoy this. You'll see me go from pretty bad to better to, okay, he's not terrible. We'll give him that. So, I do hope you'll enjoy this. Maybe there will be some interesting ones along the way. In fact, I know there will be. But yeah, I shall see you in a very cool sketchbook, number one. And the first book is probably the simplest of the three. I was kind of just still learning what I was going to do with these type of books. And, well, this is the first page. It's basically just an idea page. And you want to know how many ideas I did from this? None. This is the first actual page of drawing, and it's also not very good. You can see that face shape is atrocious, first of all. Yeah. And this is the second character concept for the animation paint that I worked on last year. So this is quite an old sketchbook, this one. But this is the concept I eventually used for him. This guy with a very interestingly shaped nose is another one. I thought that's kind of interesting. And the hand, we're not going to talk about the hand, but the nose. That's kind of interesting, to say the least. Here's a later one I did because I left this page blank originally. You can see this girl kind of looking at herself in the mirror with a dress. And I think that's kind of a cool one. It's not done perfectly, and I don't think it's even probably done well because it's kind of obstructed the mirror. But I think it's kind of cool. I actually kind of like this one. It is a bit hard to tell what's going on, but I think it's good enough where it makes sense. Pretty interesting, though. I also used to do concept sketches in here. Like this is for a drawing I later completed a full version of. But this is kind of a concept of what it was going to look like, which is interesting. And there's also practice pages like this, which just have drawings that are just random or unorganized. There are also, of course, drawings that never came to fruition, like this monstrosity. These are basically concepts for it, and it never came to be. And this is another one. It's very simple, but that's an example of the type of drawings I used to do. Very simplistic. These are very, very simple compared to what I do now and what you'll see in the third sketchbook. Here's another one. I actually kind of like this one. This is the candle. I remember doing that at a lunch table, in a cafeteria type thing. And here's a chemistry bottle overflowing. Kind of an interesting idea. And then we have kind of this sewer system in the wall, which is kind of interesting. I was trying to do something with lighting here. I don't think it's terrible, but it's not very good either. Here's a Serenal with some very interesting armor. If you don't know what a Serenal is, it's basically just a character that I made up a long time ago, or a type of character, and yeah, I've been using it ever since. And this guy has some very cool, I think, samurai-inspired armor. Here's something I did. I did a lot with implied lines here, and shadows and stuff like that, and I think it turned out terrible, first of all, but kind of an interesting thing that you may continue to see. Here you can see the start of me actually doing studies and working on reference, and you can see what that turned into. A very simplistic drawing, but a very nice drawing to see of some fabric folds and stuff like that. I really wanted to get into fabric folds, and I really like doing them now. And on the page next to it, we have this very interesting guy as well. Another study. Probably not that good of a study, but a study nonetheless. And I thought, kind of cool. Besides the face. Don't look at the face. And then we have some just simplistic ones, but I actually really like this one. We have this, like, photographer. And I actually really like how he looks. I think he looks pretty cool with the hat and all that. Very nice. And also kind of like this, I believe it was Kyoto-inspired train, or just Japanese-inspired train with this girl on it. Pretty simple, but pretty cool. And then we have this one, which I've never shown before. It's kind of interesting. I like the positioning of her, like, legs and stuff like that. I like some of the, I guess, posing on her. I think that's very cool. And then it's kind of like a chaotic background. and you can kind of see there. I've never shown this before, but I think it's a pretty good drawing. I just had the idea to do it, so I did it. That's what you'll see throughout a lot of this. We have this guy studying, which is very simple. This girl sitting in a tree, which is not very good. You can kind of not even tell what part of her is part of her and what's actually part of the tree. I think I should have done something better here with the line definition and stuff like that. And also I think color would have definitely helped in this situation. We also have this guy who looks like a Minecraft villager, so that's interesting. We have this one, which is actually not terrible to me. It is quite an old one, but I don't think it's horrible. You can see there's some interesting stuff about it. And yeah, I was using the white pen for the reflection in the eyes for the first time, or at least one of the first times here. And I think that turned out pretty good. But yeah, overall a pretty simplistic drawing though. And then we have this drawing, which is like a girl turning around and looking behind her, which I used to thought was, okay, it's really good. But now that I look at it, that head shape alone is just, yeah, not very good. We have this towards the end of the book. We're getting to the end of the first one here, which is, yeah, this is weird, to say the least. And then we actually have the end of the book. Book 1 was very simplistic, I noticed, looking back on it at least. It didn't have the best kind of anatomy or anything in most of them, but we'll see that change throughout book 2 and definitely in book 3. And our second notebook here starts with this. I didn't do a front cover with ideas this time, I just went right into it, I guess, and you'll see that for the next ones as well, or next one as well. And we have this guy who is, it's not great of a drawing, but it's not the worst. As you can see, I used some white pen to kind of get rid of some line that I didn't like, but it's kind of interesting. I like the idea, I just don't think I did it as good as I could have. Here we have this, which was meant to be kind of an attempt at getting better with drawing faces. The neck, yeah, we don't talk about the neck, but the face, it's not terrible. The ears are a bit high, very high actually, and very large as well, so it's not great, I'll say that, but I am trying to improve here. Here's a bit of a creepy one. I like this one, though. I think it's kind of interesting. A character from my animation that I was working on then, which is called 4, and the neck. Yeah, that's a theme you'll see a little during this. The necks are crazy. This guy's neck isn't crazy, though. This is rolled. So, yeah. He is a very good drawing, and I really like how he turned out. But yeah, he's one of my favorites from this entire book. As you can see here, I'm also doing more with perspective. And although I was trying to improve, you also get things like this with, first of all, very long necks. Second of all, necks should not bend that way either. But yeah, I'm trying to improve here, but as you can see, it's not going very well in these early ones. This was a study I did. Didn't turn out very well, but as you can see, I'm working on improving here as well. And then the next one is actually a study of an eye. Also not very good, but not the worst. And then here's an eye with some stylization, which I did on my own. I took the studies I did, and I thought, okay, I kind of want to improve them. I don't like the super realistic style, so I did kind of stylization, and they're not as bad. I don't think they're as bad as the other ones, at least. Still not great, though. Then you get this very beautiful man here, and this is obviously supposed to look like this, and he's very goofy looking. But I'm very happy I drew this. I really like this guy. He's just, I forgot his name. I think his name was Boss or something like that. Roz, Big Taffly. And then we have this guy who's looking all smug. I kind of like this one as well. It kind of uses different hatching type thing for the shading, which I do actually still use a lot. And I think it's pretty good with this. This one, it's kind of good. It's not great, though. I tried to do something that I did before, and it turned out really well, where there was the girl laying on her bed. She had her phone with headphones in, and this one was kind of a recreation, kind of. And, yeah, it didn't turn out as good as the old one. I don't know where the old one is. Somewhere in my massive art folder with, like, 200, 300, 500 things in it. But, yeah, this was kind of a recreation, and it didn't end very well. We also have an example of a landscape drawing. This was without reference, so you can tell that it's not very good. But Yeah, just a mountain. Very simple. And we have a stylized character here. Very simple, but I quite like him actually. And we have this character, Asu, who's very cool. And yeah, I think these two are pretty bad. These ones are not the best. This one especially, I think just the face doesn't work with that one. But I like the other two. I think that one's slightly more realistic, and then that one's more kind of expressions, I guess. And yeah, just a nice little character design here. A girl on a swing, very simple. You can see I'm spending more time on these ones because they're not as terrible. The first book had a lot that wasn't as good. This is getting better and more detailed sketches. This is one I did in a restaurant, just a guy putting on a shoe, which is very simple, but I liked doing the posing for it. And you'll see in a lot of my newer ones, I do try to make the posing more advanced or just different, which is great. I do like doing that. But with every good drawing, there must be one preceding it that is horrible, and this is that, or succeeding it, I guess. Succeeding it. That, yeah. Simple, like, I guess, desk tools drawing. Very simple there, but uses some highlighters, which I thought was an interesting idea. Didn't turn out terrible. But yeah, pretty nice. Another character concept here. Very simple, but I mean, I like doing character concepts, so it was fun to do, and I remember getting the inspiration from it, I think either from a dream or just getting the idea in my head. Then we have this interesting looking fellow. I don't know if he's a terrible drawing or a slightly not terrible drawing. I don't know what to say about this guy, honestly, but he's interesting to look at. Then we have this girl with a slightly weird face kicking a soccer ball. I like everything besides the face. I think the face, if we kind of made it thinner, like if we push that side in, it would look a lot better because the eye shouldn't be here in this perspective. It should either be, it should be at the end and then that should be down. You probably didn't understand that, but all I have to say is you probably got to put the face in a bit more and then I think it would look good. Cool drawing otherwise. I like to ramble. And then we have a concept, which I actually turned into a full drawing, or a watercolor painting type thing. And I think it turned out pretty good in the actual drawing, and you can see the very nice resemblance there. Very cool. Then we have this guy, which is supposed to be like an alien. And yeah, I just drew him randomly on a piece of paper. I think just schoolwork, like usual, doodling. And I decided to make him into his own thing, and I gave him some very nice poses as well, such as that one, which is very nice. This is another one I quite like. I like this girl. She's kind of like a mechanic, and she has some very nice hair. I like the hair being more, I think it's supposed to be like curly or messy hair, and I think that looks very good. But yeah, kind of an interesting outfit as well. We have a drawing from reference, something rare, Big Boss from the Metal Gear Solid series, and yeah, I just wanted to draw him, so I did. Simple as that. And we have this guy who's interesting looking. Didn't use reference, obviously, for this. I think the main thing that's wrong with him is his eyes, and that's the main thing I had a problem with. His mouth is a little weird as well, but his eyes especially, I think they should be either farther apart or just aligned better. We have this girl sitting in a chair, which I actually really do like. I think that one turned out pretty good. This guy with a sword, because, I mean, why not? And this girl kind of waving or doing whatever she's doing. And that's pretty much for this book, but we do have one more, so let's get into it, I guess. And this book, being the newest, has something different about it. It's not actually connected, so these are all just separate pages. The others were on a string. The reason, all my needles shattered, so I couldn't really put it all together. Oops. But anyway, this is the first drawing. Very simple. I didn't like it when I made it originally. It's kind of grown on me a little. It's not great. It's just this guy with headphones on. Very simple. And although it's not a very good drawing, I thought I'd show it because, I mean, it kind of illustrates how I'm trying to do more poses. These characters, which are kind of interesting. We then have this girl who's, again, in an interesting pose, sitting on the ground. And I actually really like this one. I think that one turned out quite well. We have this guy from a dream, which is just kind of like a sentinel or a soldier with a mushroom cap head made out of metal, like shiny chromium And it was just an interesting dream I think I had. And yeah, pretty cool. We then have this one of the girl holding the camera, which I think is an interesting thing. Some foreshortening there and all that. Very nice. Then we have some very, very simple 2-point perspective. I like doing perspective, and I want to learn 5-point perspective or fisheye lens perspective. And hopefully I will soon. I just haven't gotten around to really doing that, though. We also have this guy, which I was kind of just experimenting with faces. And I just made a random shape, and I decided to make it into a face, and that's what we got this guy from. Very interesting looking. Not horrible, kind of more of a stylized face, but kind of cool. Then we have this, which is pretty cool. If you look from the neck down, if you look head up, kind of bad. But I like the, in general, shaping and positioning of the of everything in it. Kind of just an interesting concept I think I just had randomly. Then we have these two, who are kind of cool looking. They're in their more fancy outfits. She's in a gown or a dress, and he's just in a, or I guess it would just be a dress, and he's in a suit. I like the hair I did on her. I like the facial expressions on the characters, and I think it's not too bad. We have this one, which is not very good. I like it in general. I just don't like the face. I think the face is just bland and kind of soulless. But otherwise, it's not bad character concept. I think the outfit's kind of interesting. But yeah. We can see a very nice concept art here. This was a sketch that didn't go quite as planned, and I just ended it by drawing a beautiful little face on it. And then this is the actual thing that it turned into. I never finished the actual face, but the actual facial shape isn't very good either. But the character's kind of interesting. I did draw her in full scale, which is not too bad. And next up we have this girl, which I forget if I saw like a toy or something, and the idea of this popped in my head for some reason. But this is what I drew. Kind of this girl in like the Russian hat. I forget what the hat is actually called, but you see that in a lot of Russian depictions of like Russian soldiers and that. And kind of an interesting outfit that I just had the idea for. Then we have this, which is supposed to be a tightrope walker. Originally when I drew it, I liked it, but now that I look at it, it's not very good. The skirt, first of all, is horrendous, and then the facial expression. Her head is also kind of pushed back into her neck. Yeah, not very great. Then we have this. I was kind of doing without reference, and then I actually used a little reference, not much of a reference, just for the shadows, and I made this face because I was kind of practicing making better faces, and that's what I got. And I think it turned out pretty good. It's a lot better without flash. The shadows are a lot more obvious, but it's also hard to see in my lighting without flash. So, yeah, kind of an interesting drawing, though, just to have. Then we have this one, which is in perspective there, and I actually quite like this one. It's simple, but it's nice. Then we have this one, which didn't turn out very good. As you can see, the face is messed up, but yeah, kind of interesting just to see at the very least. Then we have one of my favorite drawings I've ever made, the Huntress. And you can see her outfit there. It's very cool. And she has a very cool bow, a very cool weapon. She has a sword at her side, actually, a short sword. Maybe a gladius or something similar to that. But yeah, I really liked how this character turned out. I like the layering of the clothing. Like you can see, her cloak is actually out a layer from the kind of corset-looking inner clothing. And you can see those pants are very cool as well, kind of getting cut off at the boot. I really like this character. Then we also have this, which I had randomly while dozing off, as you do. And yeah, I just drew this, and I kind of like the posing and the facial expressions on these characters. Or at least this one. I think her expression is extremely interesting, but hers a little less so, but her posing's kind of nice with the hand as well. Some more very simple perspective here. And although it's not great, especially that shoe, I don't know what I was trying to do there, but just some simple perspective either way. Next up we have this. They're the same character. I just wanted to draw one with the cloak and one without. It's very simple drawing, and I think I was just doing it because I had nothing else to draw. We have this one, which is kind of hard to tell what's going on. It's kind of this robotic cyborg repairing a robot. And why it's hard to tell what's going on and what's what is because the backgrounds are the background is very similar to the foreground, or what we're looking at, in terms of like color, or lack thereof, I guess, but it makes it hard to tell, and that's what I learned from this, that you should probably differentiate the background of it from the character, or at least make what the character is supposed to be more obvious in the drawing, and I think that's a good thing for me to know it for the future. Then we have this one, which is a girl laying under the cover of a tree, and I don't think it's very good. I never liked it. I never liked the posing of the arm or the face, but it's not the worst drawing I've ever done. I've definitely done worse. We also have this kind of like lane here going down. There's ponds or I guess ponds with water lilies and stuff like that. And then there's a tree over here. I like how I did this section especially. And then the background, the tree's slowly fading as it gets out of view. Kind of an interesting little drawing here. Then we have this. This is a tree built or drawn with only lines going in one direction. It's a very weird idea. And it didn't turn out very good, but it's not actually the most horrible thing. You can tell what it is, at the very least. Then we have a very cool Special Forces or Special Reconnaissance Serenal Sniper. Very cool. I like the rifle, and then the armor, of course, underneath. Very interesting. And the rifle, if you were wondering, is styled after both a Mosin Nagant, SKS, and a modern M24. So there are quite a few different changes in there to kind of make a weird mashup rifle. Then one of the most interesting drawings in here, which is a drawing I made just randomly. I got this very cool marker. I acquired it. I found it on the floor, as you do. And I said, that's a cool marker. What can I use it for? And I decided to do this. And I think it turned out really good. The only thing I don't like is the space bubble, I think, is a cool idea. It just, I don't think, was executed perfectly. But I like the outfit being kind of puffy and orange, and then the blue highlights. I think it's very cool. Definitely another one of my favorite drawings in this book. Then we have this girl with a very large bag under her eye. She probably should get some more sleep. Very simple drawing otherwise. Some perspective, because, I mean, why not? I like perspective. The skateboard needs some help, but the character, I think, isn't too bad. And the final drawing here, these characters, which I decided to do, they're kind of opposites of each other. She's very, I guess, secluded or monotone. She doesn't look like she talks much. And then this one's very energetic and excited, as you can see. Very different outfits as well. She's more in a like traditional dress and under, I guess, clothes as well. And then she's a more modern clothes. And I thought it would be kind of an interesting idea. And so I drew it, and I think it turned out good. I originally started with the this one and then transitioned to doing that one as well. But yeah, very simple, but I don't think it's too bad. I also like the posing on her, especially. Well, yeah, I do hope you enjoyed. I do hope you enjoyed what you saw here. Kind of a better look at that one. I quite like that one. But yeah, my favorite drawings from each of the books here. Although this one, it's between Rolt and this guy, Mr. Big. And yeah, I do hope you enjoyed. I do hope to do more of these videos in the future. Also, this one's the honorable mention, although not in these. I do hope you enjoyed. Again, I said, I hope to do more of these once I get more sketchbooks, or finish more sketchbooks, I should say. I already made another one, the 4th. And yeah, I plan to do this every 3 sketchbooks or so, maybe 2 if I make like a big one or something for some reason. But yeah, I shall see you next time. I said, but yeah, like 1,000 times. I don't know which one of these is your favorite, but that one is kind of mine. I'm leaning towards that one. I shall see you next time again. Goodbye. I really rambled there. Wow.